everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be going through how to prepare for Inktober. It is getting close to that year. It's the middle of September now, so that means October is very nearly here. So once again, I'm going to try and do Inktober. We're going to see whether or not I complete it this year. Who knows? Fingers crossed that I will for once complete it. So this is how I'm going to prepare for Inktober to ensure that I actually complete it this year, and I might even be able to finish off the previous ones as well. So first of all, let's talk about tools. As you are probably aware, my favourite watercolour sketchbooks are the Arteza silver, or they do them in like a red colour as well. They're the ring bound, acid free, heavyweight watercolour sketchbooks. So these actually have 64 pages, that is front and back, so that's a total of 32 pages, which is perfect for Inktober because of course October has 31 days, and then I always like to have a front page in here as well, just so that I have all of the prompts on the front page, so I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't have to like access the internet or anything like that. So these are perfect, and I will put a link in the description box below. It's not sponsored, it will just be a link to Arteza, and you can check them out. They come in packs of 3, which I really like because these are just fantastic, and also the pages have perforations here, so you can pull the papers out. So if you have something that you're really proud of, you really like, you can then scan it very easily so that you can make prints out of it. So that's my first thing that I use, and I use these every single year, and they do them in a bigger version, which is this one here. So the smaller one is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, so that's the smaller one. And then this is the bigger one, and this one is 9 inches by 12 inches. This one still has the perforated pages, which is fantastic. Like I said, it's just that bit bigger, and you know, I've used these for my own personal paintings as well. So I really like these sketchbooks. They're fantastic, so easy to use, so easy to carry around, and they're really good value for money. So that would be my first recommendation to you. The next thing is to work out what medium you're going to be using to paint or draw in. So I always use a mechanical pencil because it is my favorite pencil of all time. This is the Graph Gear 1000 by Pentel. This is a wonderful mechanical pencil, and the reason I like it so much is that when you click it, the tip comes out, and then when you press this here, the can't remember what this is called, but the little clip on the top, when you press that, the tip goes back in. See? So that just means it's really great for carrying around if you're traveling, or if you want to bring your sketchbook with you anywhere. It means that you're not going to break the nib off the pencil or the end of the pencil all the time, which I find I sometimes do with mechanical pencils like these because I forget to twist them back in. So that would be my first recommendation. This is a bit of a spendy choice. Like, it is a little bit more expensive, but it is so worth it. And of course you can get refillable nibs, and also you can replace the little eraser on the top as well. So that would be my first recommendation for the pencil. I always like to sketch out my ideas first, and then I will fill them in ink. My favourite eraser is this Faber-Castell one. It's PVC free. I don't know why this is my favourite one. It just never ever leaves smudgy marks. It always clears the page. It's just fantastic. And then I also like to have some kneadable erasers as well, because I like to kind of take away some of the excess graphite when I'm drawing, and then if I'm going to put a wet medium on top, I like to do that. So that would be my favorite erasers. Again, I will link everything below. If it's a Jackson's Art link, then that will be an affiliate link. So all that means is that if you click on it, I'll get a little bit of a commission from Jackson's if you decide to buy anything. It doesn't cost any extra on you guys, it just really helps me out. The next thing that I love, now I have a couple of Fineliners that I really like. So these are my three sort of fine liners that I like. The first one, which is probably one of my favorite ones, is a Faber-Castell Echo Pigment. Okay, so it looks like that. This one is water fast, so it's waterproof. And that's part of the reason why I like it. It's also pigmented ink, which means that it's a really nice pure black. It's acid free, it's light fast. It's just a fantastic pen. It's a really fine nib as well. And I just really like this. I actually got this in a scrawler box, and it was perfect. It's probably one of the best things I've ever had from a scrawler box. The next one is very similar. This is a Copic multi-liner. This is slightly thicker than the Faber-Castell one. And this is, again, pigment ink and waterproof. So this is a really great pen. This is a 0.3 in black. Again, fantastic. Obviously, you guys have probably heard of Copic. Great brand. This was another scrawler box. Not purchase, but like, you know, came in a scrawler box. The next one is, of course, the Pigma Microns. These are fantastic. I love Pigma Micron pens. They're so good. They're archival, again, waterproof, the pigment ink. It's just fantastic. So if you're looking for a fine liner, I would highly recommend you choose something that is waterproof and is either archival or light fast, because it means it's going to last, but also it means if you decide that you want to go over it with watercolors, you can do that, which is sometimes what I like to do. Otherwise, if it's not waterproof, you would need to do your watercolor first, and then once that's dried, go over with the pen. Just depends on how you like to do your work. I prefer to do the pen first and then the watercolor. If I'm using watercolor, it's up to you. The next pens that I like to use are the Posca pens. So I have several of these. I have a black one first of all, and this is a 0.9mm bullet shape. This is the 3M. This is great for filling in big areas of black if I want to, if I'm not using ink and a paintbrush. And then I have a white fine pen. This is great for highlights. That is the Posca PC1MR. That's a 0.7mm. And then I also have a Posca PC1M with a 0.7mm sort of bullet nib. So those are both really fantastic. With Posca pens, you do need to give it a bit of a shake, and then you would don't know what the phrase is, but you would do this on the paper until the ink starts flowing into the nib. If you've seen any of my previous scrawler boxes where I got these, then you will see me doing that. So you just kind of do that for a while. So that's it for all the sort of pens and type of media like that. But then I also use some inks as well. So sometimes it depends on what I feel like doing when it comes to Inktober. Sometimes I will only use ink. Sometimes I will add in watercolor as well. It really does depend. And when it comes to Inktober, although it's called Inktober, it is up to you what you want to use when you're doing it. So you can use watercolor if you would like to. So I usually have a bottle of drawing ink. This is permanent water-based ink. This is by Frisk. You can use it with a brush. I like to use a cheap brush because I find that using my expensive brushes with ink kind of ruins them a little bit. So I just use a cheap water brush. I also have some calligraphy ink. I don't tend to use this that much. And then, because as you probably are aware, I like to add a little bit of sparkle. I've got these two liquid metal inks or paints from C. Robertson, and I will link them down below. These are lovely. They are great for various different things, like you can put them on wood and paper as well, and it doesn't tarnish. So I have one in gold. And then I also have this one, which I've not used yet, in Twinkle. It's so pretty. It's kind of got like an almost yellowy green shimmer to it. It's very iridescent. So probably going to use that as well. And that'll be interesting to see what it looks like. And then the other thing that I have that I sometimes use is the Daler-Rowney acrylic ink. So these come in little bottles like this. They do so many different colours. You've probably seen them in your art supply store. If you're in England, I believe Hobbycraft does sell these as well. So they're really accessible inks, and there's so many colours, and they do lots of different metallic inks. They do normal colour inks as well, so these are fantastic too. If I want to add any watercolours, then I have various different watercolours, as you would have seen. One of my favourites will be my Schminker ones, which I've already decanted into this Meaden watercolour set, but that will be very much dependent on how I feel about the piece and whether or not I want to add that watercolour aspect to it. I'm going to possibly try and keep everything black and white and sort of with the gold and iridescent inks, but we'll see. I might change my mind. The last thing that I like to have with me is, just in case, because sometimes I like to add gold circles as backgrounds because I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to backgrounds and a bit rubbish. I like to keep a compass with me. I always take this with me. It's just very useful to have. If you haven't got a compass, highly recommend you get one. It makes drawing circles that much easier. So that is it for sort of the drawing media and the paper. So that's what I'll be using to do my Inktober drawings. So how am I going to actually finish this year's Inktober? First of all, I've already prepped my sketchbook, so I've done my front page, and I highly recommend that if you guys haven't done this before, sign up to Inktober's mailing list, because you will actually get the Inktober list in August. So they send it through the last few days of August. I think I got mine, it was maybe 3 or 4 days before the beginning of September, so it's very much worth it. You will get a few emails each month from them, but it's not that much. So I always sign up to the mailing list, because I've had this Inktober list for 2023 for quite a while. So my front page, I've kept it very simple. It is just the Inktober logo here, and then the list of prompts for Inktober. Now, there are lots of different types of Inktober that you can do. So Inktober is the original one, but you could do Witchtober, for example. You could do, I can't even remember what ones there are, but there are so many out there. And I'll pop a link to some Instagram pages down below so you can see different ones if you want to choose a different one. I've decided to keep things simple and stick to Inktober this year. But some years I've done a mixture of Inktober, and then I've done Obscutober, which is by Nicholas Tower. That was quite interesting because it's always really obscure words that are chosen for the Inktober prompt list, and it means that you kind of learn some different words as well, which is quite interesting. So choose which Inktober list you want to do, and I usually choose this in August. So I'll have a look at the Inktober list that they send through, and if I like it, you know, I might go with that. If I don't like it, I might wait until everyone else's lists have been brought out and then decide. But this year I decided, you know what, I'm just going to stick with Inktober this year. I'm going to keep it simple and go for it. So some of the prompts on this year, we've got dream, spiders, map, toad, castle, dagger, angel, demon, scratchy, celestial. So there's a big variety of different words in there. So it'll be quite interesting to see how or what I do for each one. Because it's October, of course, drew a little pumpkin because that's just standard. So, and I was probably craving pumpkin spice lattes at this point. So that's what I do to prepare. That's my front page. I always do that on the first page of these sketchbooks. And then what I do is I will go through, because I once skipped a page in these sketchbooks and it was just like, oh no. So now I go through and I number right at the bottom in the corner. I number every single page and make sure I've got them all there ready. It also means that I don't, like in the beginning, during September, I don't have to start at the beginning. I can start at whichever prompt takes my fancy. And I find that helps to kind of get rid of that initial anxiety of starting Inktober each year. So for example, I've already started doing prompt 14, which is castle, and I started drawing or sketching out the Hogwarts castle. So that's what my piece of work is going to be for prompt number 14. And then I think I've also started sketching out an idea for number 2. So this is, the prompt for that is spiders, and I'm taking inspiration, again, I don't know why I'm going really Harry Potter so far, but I'm taking inspiration from the spell book where they find the ingredients for polyjuice. There's like a picture of a woman with like a spider on her head. So yeah, I'm doing that, and my version of that picture for that one. So that is how I will be sort of progressing through Inktober throughout September. So I will work on this throughout September and sketch out my ideas. And then during October on each day, I will then make sure I've finished each piece. So for example, first day is dream. So I need to get to work on that so that I can make sure that is finished before the beginning of October. And then what I can do is post it on my social media if I want to post it on my social media. Obviously you don't have to post things on your social media, but that's kind of my plan in order to do Inktober this year, and fingers crossed I will finish it. Hopefully you guys can keep me accountable. I'm going to do some posts on here on YouTube, so if you are joining in, let me know, and maybe we can kind of keep each other accountable for Inktober this year. That would be really amazing. So I really hope that that was useful for you. It was just a very quick video to let you know how I'm planning on working through Inktober this year. If it was useful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. And if you're not already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you here. I'm doing more and more videos. I've got a few swatching videos coming up of the rest of the Schminker super granulating paints that I absolutely love. They are amazing. If you don't already have them, I would highly recommend investing in a set. And if you do want to get some and get 10% off, then if you use my link for Jackson's and you create a new account, you'll get 10% off. So that's another bonus too. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching it today, and I shall see you in the next one. Talk to you later. Bye.